Donald Trump sent the stock markets tumbling once again this week when he decided to launch yet another attack on his own Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell, whom he appointed to that position during his first term. So 8 years ago, Donald Trump thought, hey, this is the perfect guy, but today, for some reason, Powell's just the worst we've ever had. Here is what Donald Trump put on Truth Social that caused the Dow Jones to lose hundreds of points early this week. He said, quote, "Preemptive cuts in interest rates are being called for by many. First of all, no. You're literally the only one calling for that." But he continues, "With energy costs way down, false. Food prices, including Biden's egg disaster, substantially lower. Eggs are at an all-time high. Other food costs are also going up, you idiot. And most other things trending down, there is virtually no inflation." That is just contrary to reality. Like, literally none of that is happening. Gas prices are a little bit lower right now because this is not travel season. When we get towards the end of May, they will go up again because demand will increase. That's what happens. But he continues, "With these costs trending so nicely downward," again, they're not, "just what I predicted they would do, there can almost be no inflation, but there can be a slowing of the economy unless Mr. Too Late Powell, a major loser, lowers interest rates now. Europe has already lowered 7 times. Don't know why he put that in quotes. Powell has always been too late. Except when it came to the election period when he lowered in order to help sleepy Joe Biden, later Kamala, get elected. How did that work out?" Well, it prevented us from going into a recession, and no, he didn't wait till right before the election. They did it multiple times, raising interest rates to counter inflation, which caused a little bit of pain, but it worked. And as I mentioned, the Dow, the NASDAQ, and the S&P, following Donald Trump's attacks on Powell, all tanked. All of them, without exception, immediately following this attack. But the reason they tanked, of course, is not just because, hey, Trump's attacking his own guy. It's actually a little more nuanced than that, and I will explain it in just a moment after a quick word from today's video sponsor. First, Elon Musk gutted federal agencies. Then he slashed public services. Now his people are fighting to keep their corruption under wraps. But a federal judge ruled Musk's alleged Department of Government efficiency is not exempt from open records laws. Judge Christopher Cooper made it clear that the Trump administration completely failed to argue against the fact that DOJ is acting with massive unchecked power. Ground News analyzed dozens of sources covering this from across the political spectrum. And comparing coverage, you'll see how some spin this as a partisan issue while others call it what it is, proof of corruption. Same story, different spin, and exactly why you can't blindly trust the first headline you see without knowing the biases behind them. That's why I've been relying on my partners at Ground News for a long time. If you like my show, you'll love how their app and website lets you compare coverage with context on each source's political bias, credibility, and financial incentives. This way, you're not just taking one source's word for what's happening, you're seeing past the layers of selective reporting shaping your worldview. Billionaires and political agendas are controlling more and more of our media, deciding what they want us to see and think. Ground News, on the other hand, it's independent, it's nonpartisan, and only committed to helping us think critically about the stories shaping everything from public opinion to public policy. And since I can't track everything Trump and Musk are doing or undoing alone, I've curated feeds that track them for me from credible sources to make sure I'm giving you all the most reliable information. And now you can too, for nearly half the price. Go to ground.news/Farron to get the same unlimited access Vantage plan that I use for just $5 a month. Take back control of how you stay informed today. The link is in the video description. So again, Donald Trump attacking Jerome Powell, the guy he put in power years ago, for not lowering interest rates. And that is what spooks the markets. Everybody who knows anything about the economy understands that in a time of high inflation, which yes, we are in, contrary to Trump's claim, if you lower interest rates, it's going to increase spending. Increasing spending during times of increased inflation typically leads to a recession, which is why during the Biden years we had to raise interest rates so people would stop borrowing money to reduce spending to bring inflation down. It worked. It prevented us from going into a recession during the Biden years that at the start of it, most economists said, yeah, we're probably going to hit another recession. We didn't because they were smart, because Powell was smart. So here comes Trump, once again, inflation going up. He's saying it's not, but that's a lie. Inflation going up, and he says, cut the rates. Well, the stock market, the folks on Wall Street know this will cause a recession, which is going to hurt them. So they start a massive sell-off. And they start investing in other things like the Swiss franc or gold. And again, that is according to reports here. The dollar also slipped to a 3-year low. So Trump's financial policy, his economic policy, is destroying everything. Not just the market, the value of the dollar itself is at a 3-year low. And he's done that in 3 months, folks. But the reason the market is panicking right now is because what they see happening is Donald Trump interfering with the independence of the Federal Reserve. They know that Donald Trump wants to fire Powell. A member of his administration, his economic advisor by the name of Kevin Hassett, said last Friday, we're going to look into that. We're going to figure out how to fire the chairman of the Federal Reserve, install a Trump crony in there, and then next thing you know, boom, lower interest rates, higher inflation, definitely a recession. He didn't add that last part, but it is implied. And that's what's scaring the market. The more Trump attacks Powell, the more likely it is he will fire him, which then means, everything's going to hell. They see that the Fed is no longer independent. Donald Trump is in fact meddling with it. And when he meddles, he messes things up. Donald Trump, in his first administration, during his second administration so far, there is not a single thing that he has touched that has become better. Nothing. You can't point to a single thing that he has made better. Everything he touches turns to trash. And he's about to start touching the Federal Reserve, and the market is responding accordingly. Did you know that you might be missing out on wonderful content from me? I mean, you're here already because clearly you like what you see. So if you're not already, please do subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like the video, share them with your friends and family, but also follow me across the rest of the social media world. And it's not that hard to do. Whether it's X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Threads, on every one of those platforms, you can find me at the username @FarronBalanced. Simple enough, right? So get on it. And if you don't feel like going to each one of those outlets individually, lucky for you, we have links in the description of this video to take you right to my pages across all of social media. So don't miss a minute. And while you're at it, make sure you're also subscribed to the Ring of Fire YouTube channel, which I have been hosting for many, many years now. We've got more than 1 million subscribers over there, and there is fresh content over there every single day of the week. So again, if you're not subscribed, subscribe to this channel, and while you're at it, go subscribe to Ring of Fire at youtube.com/The Ring of Fire and @FarronBalanced across every social media platform. That, of course, is not considered just a far-right hellscape. Well, maybe Twitter is, but that's a story for a different day.